Guys, every podcast that I start, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Every podcast that I start, I have to clap in the mic to sync the audio, and I just blew my eardrums out. So hopefully you guys, you guys won't hear it, but my eardrums are blown out. Just to let you guys know.
Yeah, you're kind of screaming.
One thing that I wanted to talk about. Let me talk a little more soothing. Let me get a little sensual with you guys. One thing that I have been doing recently, and I was put onto it by Twitter. I mean, not necessarily is it something that I haven't been doing, but it's something that I didn't really fully, I'd say, dive into the practice of it. And I'm gonna talk about it in a mysterious way for a little bit here, just to kind of edge on the experience.
Of course.
So there's I think an orthopedic guy who's named Mike Mew or something, and pretty much what he talks about is developing the skull and like the mandible. And he says that one thing, have you ever heard like mouth breathers?
Yeah.
So one bad thing from mouth breathing is if it's not going through your nose, it's not getting filtered out in a certain way. And the second thing is when you don't have your mouth closed and your tongue pressed to the top of your mouth, your skull won't form fully. And if you look at people who have had, like, let's say allergy problems or something wrong with their house where they had to essentially mouth breathe, you can see a disformity to their actual skull. It's really, really odd. They grow like no chin. You ever seen people with like no chin?
Yeah.
That's part of it. And so part of the way to combat this is you can do what's called tongue chewing, and that's where you take a piece of gum and you chew it on the roof of your mouth with your tongue, obviously. So I did this for a while, and I think that part of the reason, I would say I have a decent jawline, and I think what part of it comes back to is I grind my teeth really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I went to the dentist, I had to have a certain mouthpiece made for when I sleep because I like chew my teeth so hard when I'm sleeping. And so I think that's part of it. And doing the gum chewing, I've noticed some significant betterings in my overall facial feature. And the one bad thing about it is with gum, obviously, you can get sugar gum or sugar-free gum. And the problem with the sugar-free gum is it usually has these artificial sweeteners, so usually sorbitol, aspartame, and I think there's one more. But with these, what I've heard in the studies show that they mess up your microgut biome. So what I bought is this gum from Turkey I think the company's, I'll show you after.
Yeah.
It's called Falim. And so with this Falim gum, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm just fucking throwing it out there. I think it's Falim.
Okay.
Might be butchering. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Fully.
But anyways, it's completely sugar-free gum, so there's no sugar in it at all. And the one that I got is mastic flavored, which is apparently some kind of tree from Turkey or Greece. And I've been using it. Not like I don't know. I just like chewing. It's a little
Chewing
bit tougher
trees.
of a gum.
Yeah.
It's 2 Chainz. It's a little bit tougher of a gum, and I don't know if you've thought about this. I haven't thought about this until I got this gum. I feel like gum 10, 15 years ago was a lot harder of gum. Nowadays, I don't know if you pay attention when you're chewing gum. It's just like soft and kind of too malleable.
Yeah.
With this gum, it's a whole other ball game. I feel like I'm chewing on rubber, and I kind of like it. I don't know what it is because you can blow huge bubbles, which I don't do. But if you're into blowing bubbles, guys, get this gum.
Tree gum.
It's mastic tree gum, baby. It's something that I've been looking into. It's really, really interesting, though. I want to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, no, that sounds super interesting. I don't think I've ever really tried to develop like I've never had grinding my teeth
Mm-hmm.
or I've never grinded my teeth or anything like that, but it's definitely really interesting. I think that makes sense. The same as training like other muscles. When you contract and it builds, obviously your jaw builds and it strengthens over time, which becomes more defined. I don't necessarily understand how it could help with mouth breathing, but I can definitely see how it, or like where you're coming from. But I mean, I'd have to give it a try with some tree gum myself. So
I'll get you that tree gum.
Yeah.
We'll get popping and we'll see the results. We'll track it on a week-to-week basis. One thing that I got from it that I noticed was and it's not that I'm necessarily anxious, but I'm just kind of fidgety. And so I either have to be tapping my knee or touching something, or I'm just annoying like that. And with the gum, I just chew that son of a bitch like no tomorrow. I'm just fucking biting on that thing like 20 times a second.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I don't want to say it's calming. I guess there's a calming effect to it, but it just kind of it stops those urges to do other tendencies where I just shake my knee or just do bullshit.
There is science behind that, and it's known that if you chew gum while taking a test, you're more focused and
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
So I'm also very fidgety. I definitely tap my leg a lot if I'm just sitting there or I'm focused on something. So and gum kind of it's just one of those things to keep your mind occupied, or I don't know. I don't really know much about fidgeting. That'd be really interesting to learn about, though.
Remember when fidget spinners were really, really popular and they were coming out with different kinds? I didn't realize that so many people were affected by a similar thing that I'm affected by it. Not that I'm affected by it. Like, it's not a huge disease or some kind of epidemic, but I was surprised that there's a lot of other people that it happens to. And with the rise of these fidget spinners and these other fidget toys, I used a couple of them, but I never really enjoyed them. For some reason, chewing gum is just something I've done growing up, and I really, really like gum. So it's something I stuck to and I actually enjoy, which is weird.
Right, and so I mean, I guess technically it has more value than a fidget spinner because it plays into what you're saying about your jaw. So you have different things that you can take out of it, obviously. And I do think that fidgeting is different for everybody, though. So that's kind of why there's such a competitive market for all these new fidget spinners. Like there's like that cube with all the different ones on the side. So it just is another way for businesses kind of to take advantage of, I mean, not take advantage, but it's just it's supply and demand, really. I guess people have this problem that they say is a problem, but it's not necessarily. But if it helps, you know. So they found that niche.
One good thing about it as well is it reminded me of something that I never really paid attention to, and that's tongue posture. Again, this I hope I'm not butchering his name. I think it's Mike Mew. I'm not sure. I know his last name's for sure Mew, MEW. So if you want to look further into it, obviously go check it out. It's really, really interesting. And he's made a lot of videos on YouTube, so you can see a wide variety of videos on it. With this tongue chewing, it brought up another thing, which is tongue posture, and like I don't know if you notice when you have your tongue down at the bottom of your mouth. You can do this in the mirror. If you have it pressed up against against the roof of your mouth, you'll see an actual change in your jaw structure just right then and there. And there are certain people that I've noticed that, again, have these, I'm assuming, problems when they were younger where they didn't breathe well through their nose. And that's kind of what set up that shitty tongue posture, because you can't breathe with your mouth open with your tongue to the top of your mouth. So when they breathe and they have this tongue posture, again, that's part of the problem when the mandible forms and the skull forms. That's where some of those problems with the growing happens. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but again, now that I checked out Mike Mew and all this other research, it was really fucking interesting. It blew my mind.
There's also correlation behind mouth breathing and snoring. If you're known to breathe out of your mouth, you're more likely to snore. And that's really bad. Snoring, I don't necessarily know everything behind it, but I know that snoring is not the best thing for you.
Snoring's terrible for your sleep because, like Joe Rogan had Matt Walker, I think his name. I don't know. Maybe I'm just butchering names left and right.
REM sleep, right?
Yeah, he talked about different sleep, different types of sleep, and how important sleep is. And I never thought sleep was so important, but apparently lack of sleep is one of the biggest causes of different like crashes. So a lot of the automobile crashes are usually because of sleep deprivation. And I think he said a statistic somewhere along the lines of 50 to 60, it's maybe 70 to 80% of Americans are getting less sleep than they should, and he said that the sleep you should be getting is anywhere from 6 to 8 to 9 hours, I guess, if you're really tired. So I try and shoot for around 8, and I feel like I've been pretty successful in that. But again, snoring can really mess that up if you have problems with that.
I definitely haven't been getting enough sleep recently, and I think it's honestly weird because I feel like I've had a lot more energy throughout the day, but then as the day goes on and it starts to become later, I get tired faster.
Now that you've been working out a lot more, though, and you've increased the frequency of it, do you feel like that helps you sleep? Because for me, I feel like that helps. It makes my sleep just better quality.
100%. I definitely think. I also I've been eating a lot more as well. I had a problem for a while where I wasn't eating like anything at all, and so I mean, I guess it could tie into that. It also can tie into mental things like stress and all those kind of factors or whatever is going on. But I definitely, with working out, I've definitely been getting a lot more sleep, and it's been like deeper sleep, and I wake up and I feel more energized. Rather than groggy.
So my closing statement would be, again, guys, If you want to check out Mike Mew, hopefully that's his name, go check him out. Check out this gum that I got. It does wonders. Maybe not for you, but for me. And again, make sure you're getting adequate sleep. It's super important, especially if you're training. What would your closing statement be?
Yeah, I agree with the last thing you said, especially sleep is really, really important. And without sleep, you kind of just go crazy.
Get your sleep, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.